Okay, here we go. Astrology update. I am going to be speaking to you today about the new moon in Cancer slash solar eclipse slash summer solstice. Summer solstice. That is happening today. It is happening technically Sunday, depending on where you are in the world. It's happening in Central Time at 1:41 a.m. Central Time on Sunday, the 21st. So I'm going to go through the astrology of this new moon and just kind of weave together everything that is going on in the world, the energy that we've been moving through, building up to this new moon slash eclipse slash solstice slash all the fucking things. And yeah, and what you could experience, what you could be experiencing right now with this new moon, and then, you know, kind of what's to come. So many things. Okay, let's just start with speaking to the Cancer energy, right? So I'm gonna draw on the chart here. You can see the sun and the moon are together at 0 degrees. It just entered Cancer. 0 degrees is like just the very beginning of any sign. So yeah, Cancer season literally just began, and we're having a new moon right as it begins. And we also just had Mercury go retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So that is another thing that is happening right now. We've got a lot of planets retrograde, but I'll get to that here soon. And yeah, so the new moon, sun and moon together in Cancer, and then it's conjunct the North Node, which is what makes it an eclipse. So okay, so with all of this Cancer energy, this new moon in Cancer slash solstice, eclipse, all the things. New moons are a time of new beginnings, of planting new seeds of intention. You know, it's a dark sky, so we're going inward, we're reflecting. It's a bit more retrospective, and we are looking at what it is that we want to grow, what we want to plant moving forward. And with it being an eclipse, it kind of just supercharges the, you know, the new moon or full moons when it is conjunct the nodal axis, when it's conjunct the North Node or the South Node. That's what makes it an eclipse. And eclipses are super powerful. Again, it's just supercharging the new moons and the full moons. And the effects of this particular new moon, eclipses in general, you're going to feel it for a lot longer than you would with a normal new moon or full moon. You can generally feel the eclipse energy for maybe about 6 months after. Maybe you even feel it, you know, a month or so before the actual event takes place. It's like, yeah, a big kind of karmic cycle that we're moving through. Eclipses can bring, yeah, karmic events. It can bring fated experiences, like huge changes. It's a potent time, and we're right in the middle of eclipse season. We had one eclipse already, and we're going to have another one after this. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on in the world. You know, with the astrology this year, there's a lot going on, and then we can see it playing out in live time. Yeah, just kind of feeling the heaviness of being alive right now. Like, and this is very much connected to the Cancer energy. So let's just fucking dive into it. Let's talk about Cancer and the emotions, and you know, and Cancer rules our ability to digest our emotions and to digest life events in general. And so it could feel like, yeah, it could feel really fucking intense. It could feel like unpleasant to be here at times. It could feel like just shit is really heavy. And especially for people that have strong water energy, you know, at the time of this new moon, we're all going to be getting a taste of like that Cancer energy. But for the people that live with a lot of water, you know, that are hypersensitive to the external world, and that's really what Cancer represents, right? That's what it has to do. It's the crab. It has to be so sensitive to know when the tides are coming, like when it needs to move up and when it needs to go back down, so that it doesn't get, yeah, washed away with the tides. So it's hypersensitivity is really powerful and helpful for the crab, but it's also can be a lot, and it can be, yeah, it can be a lot right now with just feeling what's happening in the world, and needing to take that time to really go inward and to pull into your Cancer crab shell and to like sift through your emotional body and to allow the emotions to come and go. You know, Cancer, yeah, is notorious for being emotional or being sensitive. I mean, it's connected to the moon, right? Cancer is associated to the moon. The moon, our moods, it changes every 2.5 days. The moon moves into a new sign every 2.5 days. So as is our emotional body in this process of being ever changing, you know, fluid, in flux, like up and down. But we need to develop ways to support ourselves, to nourish ourselves, to nurture ourselves. This is also very much the Cancer energy. Ways that we can, yeah, that we can fill up our cup, that we can take care of ourselves, that we can be that sense of support for ourselves, especially if we're not receiving it in the external world. And it could be a little bit hard right now because like traveling is limited. You can't like go be with different people. Maybe you're not near your family. Maybe even your family doesn't support you in the ways that you would like. So you've had to really learn how to be your own sense of support for yourself. And so many things. And so, yeah, and so a little bit more about the Cancer energy. Cancer, again, it's the crab. It's connected to our emotions. It's connected to, yeah, how we process our emotions, how we interact with our emotions. Cancer is connected to the home and the family and your roots and your ancestry, your heritage, the family line, you know, and with Cancer being connected to our emotions, our emotional memory is the strongest. It's the strongest. The emotions that we experience, the events that we go through, like traumatic things that happen to us that we then can carry with us through many lifetimes. So that's what I'm feeling for this new moon. Like it goes so fucking deep. Like maybe emotions coming up that you have no idea where they came from or why they're there, why they're moving through you. Yeah. Okay. So our emotional memory that can live on throughout many lifetimes. So again, maybe something happens in another lifetime and then you reincarnate if you believe in that, and then you know are here in this current lifetime and something happens and you're like way overreacting or having like this huge emotional response to something that isn't really warranted, but it's like something that's happened from the past has left an imprint on you. And so I feel that with this new moon / eclipse that the stuff that's being brought to the surface is stuff that is like been with us for so long, like maybe before this lifetime. Maybe it's, you know, again, Cancer being connected to the home, to the family, to your ancestry, like emotional stories, stories, memories, ways that we process things, like that's been with us for so long. It's coming up to the surface right now. I feel this with it being at 0 degrees, like the very entrance into Cancer, like a very potent degree when something's at 0 degrees or it's at 29 degrees, the very beginning and the very end of a sign. And so it feels like with this new moon that it's like going to the core of these stuck emotions, or maybe it's just a feeling of like distaste for being here, like for doing this human experience. And I feel like that's being supported with this quincunx to Saturn. It's like, okay, it's like we all signed up to be here at this time. We signed up for this human journey. But there can be some resistance to being here. Like maybe you get here on Earth and you're just, really sensitive to what's going on. And especially at this time, at this point in time, and this aspect that's being made to Saturn, it's the most exact aspect that we have going on at the time of this new moon. And it's an uncomfortable aspect. It's like Saturn in Aquarius. We need to build something new. We need a new future. We need new foundations. We need new rules. We need new government structures. We need new boundaries that we work within, because we all know that the system's been beyond broken. It was built broken a long time ago. And so we know the age of Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, that we have to build something new, you know, revolutionary energy, futuristic energy, humanitarian energy. But it's not really comfortable to do it. You know, this quincunx to the new moon is quincunxes aren't a comfortable aspect. And so what we need to feel supported and to feel nurtured and to feel safe, maybe we're not really receiving that at this time. We're definitely not receiving it from like the collective energy or what's going on. Like you just get on social media or anything, you just probably go outside your house and you're like bombarded with all the fucking shit that's happening in the world right now. And so it can be a lot, and the Cancer energy can get like overwhelmed, and it can kind of shut down, and it pulls its energy back into its Cancer crab shell. And so again, I think at the time of this new moon, I think that it's helpful for us to take some time to go inward, to check in with our emotional body, to see what's coming up, to see what it is that we need. Maybe we need, you know, more rest. Maybe we need, you know, to surround ourselves with different types of people, maybe some different experiences. We need to like take that time to go inwards, to pause, to reflect on what it is that we need. But I feel with this new moon that we're really learning how to work with our emotional body in a new way. And in order to get to that place, I think that we have to really hit rock bottom, so to speak, like get to the root, get to the base, the foundation of where these emotions are coming from, because Cancer is the foundation of your chart. The cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, these are like the main axis of the chart. It's here. Aries, Cancer is the foundation of your life, the foundation of your chart. Libra, Capricorn. So they start off seasons. It's like the beginning of a new season. And so again, with Cancer, with it being the foundation of your chart, the foundation of your life, and it's at 0 degrees. So it's just like, for me, it feels like just going as deep as you possibly can within those old emotional stories and old ways of responding to life, and in digesting and processing emotions, and really looking at what that process is like. Like, is it helpful? Is it hurtful to you? Like, how do you move through that experience of being super sensitive to what's happening in the world around you? You know, being able to be compassionate and to be, like empathetic for other people and what they're going through, but also not letting it consume you, because you also have to take care of yourself and you have to tend to your internal world. And so, yeah, so there's a lot going on with the emotional body. You know, we've got Mercury that's gone retrograde in Cancer, and it's going to be there for about a month. I mean, it's nothing like too out of the usual. Mercury does this often. Every year it's retrograding multiple times. And, you know, with it being retrograde in Cancer, and it going retrograde just a few days ago, it's like, okay, I feel like this new moon is kind of kickstarting our processing of emotions, how we interact with them, how we hold on to things, because Cancer can, in emotions in general, right? Like, that's where dis-ease comes from, when we're holding on to these stuck emotions or stuck patterns, and they're just like ruminating. Maybe they're ruminating in our mind, you know, Mercury and Cancer, or maybe we've you know, shut ourselves down, or we've frozen the water and they're just stuck within our body. We're not necessarily thinking about it. We're just like detached from it, but it still lives within the body. And so I think with this Mercury retrograde, yeah, retrogrades in general, it's a time of slowing down, of pausing, of reviewing, of reflecting. And yeah, so it's about a month of looking at how we, maybe how you communicate your emotions. Cancer can, again, with it being very sensitive, it can be fearful of expressing itself sometimes, because it's like, it's so sensitive to how other people are receiving the information that they're sharing. If they notice like changes within their environment, or people, you know, noticing how the other people are responding to what it is that they're saying, then it can like cause that energy to kind of pull inwards and to maybe change what it is that they were going to say. So yeah, with this retrograde, Mercury retrograde in Cancer, we can look at how we communicate our emotions, how we think about our emotions. Maybe it's the conversations that we have with ourselves when we're moving through heavy, deep emotional material, like just maybe what it's like to be alive at this time. How do you interact with yourself in that process? Like, are you gentle with yourself? Are you like beating yourself up about the emotions that come to the surface? Are you mad because you've already felt these emotions before and you don't want to deal with it anymore, and so you just numb it out and try to like run away from it? Like, what is your process with dealing with that type of energy? Okay, so that's something. And some other things I want to speak to is this fucking more water stuff we have going on. So we've got Neptune and Mars that were exactly conjunct a few days ago, but they've pretty much been hanging out together here for quite some time. And this is the Pisces energy. Pisces, I'll speak to that in a second. But okay, so this has been off and on, it's been squaring Venus that has been retrograde in Gemini. So let's break all that down. So, okay, so Neptune and Mars in Pisces. In Pisces energy in general, it can, again, this is more water, more sensitivity, more emotions being brought to the surface. Water is intuitive in a way that's different from fire elements, fire signs that are more like instinctive and don't really think about the things. They just do it, like intuitive hits. And water is more like kind of feeling things, letting it come in through your body. Maybe it takes some time to put words to what it is that you're feeling, or yeah, it's kind of more of a process, I feel, with the water energy. And so with all of this water and Pisces energy in particular, Pisces can, every sign has a high road and a low road. And since this has been a square, a challenging aspect that's going on, there could have been and still, still be having this going on. Is that English? I'm not sure. Just feeling like very confused or disoriented, or like what is real and what is not. I mean, this world that we're living in is like, it's such a trip right now, right? It seems like this is just a huge dream that maybe we're going to wake up from one day, and that's very much the Pisces energy. It's like, is this real? Is this an illusion? Like, it can be a bit foggy and fuzzy. It's more about surrender and letting go and trusting, and like, how do you occupy being in the void of nothingness? And so it's been making a square to Venus that's been retrograde in Gemini. And so this is another layer to what we have going on. Venus is the planet of love, of beauty, of relationships, how we show up in relationships, how we communicate in relationships, friendships, partnerships, any type of relating, not just intimate relationships. And so we've been reviewing what that looks like. Retrogrades are Venus retrograde is notorious for like exes coming back. Maybe you've connected with some of your exes, maybe all of them, and are having a conversation about like tending to shit that wasn't taken care of. It's like going back to the past, having a conversation, thinking about things. Yeah, maybe you're interacting with another person to kind of clear the air, to like find some type of resolution. And so, yeah, retrogrades, we're going back to the past. We're reviewing information before we can fully move forward. Venus has been retrograde in Gemini for quite some time. It's going to move direct here soon. But yeah, we've been reviewing relationships and partnerships and friendships, and like your communication style in relationship and in friendships in general. Like, what is important to you? What type of communication do you need? Gemini energy, there can be a lot of information. There can be a lot of mental stimulation going on. Maybe you're looking at like, yeah, past relationships or friendships, or just like all of like the information in general that's just kind of flooding in right now in regards to what's going on in the world. And it can be, yeah, it can be confusing. It can be like Gemini's mutable, it's changeable. It can kind of like go back and forth or take a new shape. And this Pisces energy as well is very much like shape shifty. Yeah, I think that's a new word. But it could just feel like there's so much information, there's so much mental stimulation, and it's hard to like to see clearly, to see what is real, what is fact, and what is illusion, what is deception, what is just like a fantasy or being made up. I mean, that's all the low road of the Pisces energy. But I think on the high road of this aspect that we have going on, it's helping us to, you know, maybe it comes with some confusion, maybe there's some back and forth, maybe some type of like deception, illusion, like smoke and mirrors, fogginess going on. But I think at the end of the day, like, again, it's taking the time to just like kind of let the dust settle and to sit with yourself and to get clear on the types of communication you need, on the types of relationships you need, the types of friendships you need, and knowing like when it's time to just kind of close off. I mean, again, the Cancer energy of like pulling back into the shell when there's been just so much information overload that you can't tell, yeah, what is real and what is not. And so you need to kind of turn that off. And then we can hit the high road of this Pisces energy here, which is being directly connected to source, to spirit, to God, to whatever, fill in the blank, your higher power of choice, and receiving the messages that we need. But just kind of moving throughout the day, things can feel, yeah, it could feel a little bit foggy, fuzzy, like otherworldly, like, yeah, what is real and what is not. But I think with this retrograde, it's really given us a lot of time to look back to the past. You know, maybe there's been some of the rose-colored glasses or some of the nostalgia, or you know, maybe even playing the victim type energy can come with the Pisces, Pisces and Neptune and this water energy going on. But ultimately needing to take the time to ground and to just let the information be exposed in time. Like, let the truth be revealed, and in that process, like, you're staying grounded, you're staying rooted within yourself, because there's a lot that's happening. You know, another thing I want to speak to is Pluto and Jupiter that are together, that are conjunct. And this dance is pretty much going on all year, like Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto dance. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's it's known for like the planet of joy or abundance or success or money or wealth. Also our values are more like our beliefs on the world, like our moral compass, our philosophy about the world. But Jupiter just has an expansive energy. So it's just going to expand anything that it touches. It's not always positive. It's just expansive. And in this case, it's conjunct the planet of death and transformation. And, you know, Pluto, it is connected to the underworld. Pluto wants to expose what's been buried. Pluto wants to slowly deconstruct, like break you down, break everything down, so that something new can come of it, so that we can be transformed, so that we can transmute the negative energy, the heavy experiences, the trauma, the heaviness, the darkness. I mean, that all falls under the umbrella of Pluto. Trauma, abuse, power plays, manipulation, like misuse of power, control, all of that would be connected to Pluto. And so you can see Jupiter conjunct Pluto. Jupiter's just expanding that, like, whew, let's just fucking blow the lid off of all the darkness that's ever gone on in the world right now, and bring it to the light, and let's look at it, and let's try to work with it so that we don't get just completely consumed by all of the heaviness. This is the fun dance that the Scorpio Pluto people get to do. It's like being acutely aware of the heaviness of the world, the darkness, the awful things that can happen. And how can we transform that? How can we transmute that energy? How can I be aware of those things that are going on while also not letting it consume me, while also showing up and doing my work and doing the things that fill me up, and, you know, nourishing and supporting myself while again, being aware of the darkness that exists in the world, the darkness that exists, you know, the shadow aspects of ourselves can also be brought to the surface right now. And I would imagine that leading up to this new moon, eclipse, solstice situation, that we've probably gone to a degree of rock bottom. For me, I feel like it's just like exploring all the layers that are rock bottom and learning how to navigate through them in a new way. You know, you have to, this is the Scorpio, the Pluto energy. It's the Phoenix rising, and it's very much like shaman type energy. Like, you have to hit rock bottom. Generally something, you know, happens that takes you to your knees, that brings you down, that, you know, brings you to rock bottom, so that you can then rise above. You can rise from the ashes, the remains of what was left, what was burnt down, anything that's still remaining that was built in integrity. You can rise from that and create something new and be transformed. I mean, Pluto, Scorpio wants evolution at all costs. Evolution, no matter how hard it is, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be painful. That's, yeah. But what is our relationship with that? You know, as we move through that experience, like hard, painful, it can look a lot of different ways. We can still bring in joy. We can bring in like comedic relief. We can bring in, yeah, just different tools to move through that experience, even when shit is hard, even when it's intense or heavy. It's like, yeah, how do we work with it? How do we work with these events that is life? Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's about everything. I think we're almost at 30 minutes here. Yeah, that's about everything that I would like to share. Again, okay, so to just kind of wrap it all up, the new moon, eclipse, solstice, new moons, new beginnings, planting new seeds of intention. I feel like we're having to make peace with what's going on, this aspect of Saturn. It's not comfortable. It's not necessarily like very supported here, but we're having to make peace with what is happening. We're having to find ways to nourish ourselves, to support ourselves, to take care of ourselves, despite the craziness that is happening in the world right now. And then individually, you know, we're looking at how we move through our emotional process, how we, you know, how do we digest life? How do we digest different experiences? What are our patterns, our cycles, our tendencies? Do we, you know, the low road of Cancer, do we just like retract and pull in whenever shit gets hard or uncomfortable, or we shut down? Like, you know, to a certain degree, sure, maybe some people need, you know, more time alone, or they need more time inward reflecting. But I think we can all have a, you know, with this new moon, I think it's inviting us to all have a healthier experience with how we move through intense emotions and intense experiences. And how do we find some type of like support, you know, nourishment? Again, Cancer being connected to the womb space, where you receive all your nourishment to like be able to live. So, and Cancer being connected to the home and family, you know, maybe you're looking at themes within the family dynamic. Maybe you're looking at how you were emotionally supported when you were younger, and then how that's affecting you now. Like, how were you emotionally supported, or were your emotions not valid? Were they not able to be expressed or acknowledged? And then you can, you know, unravel that ball of like, how do you show up being being some type of functioning human now, despite what happened. You know, all of us probably had childhoods that wasn't exactly like what our ego would have wanted. Arguably, it's what our soul needed to evolve and to be more self-sufficient. But yeah, looking at our emotional processing that stemmed from childhood, and that maybe also goes back to many lifetimes. Maybe it's been lifetimes in throughout the family line of carrying some type of emotion. Cancer being connected to the family, to our roots, to our ancestry again. So what type of emotion has been carried down in the family line? Like, is there something that you're really wanting to clear out, or to let go of, or to work with in a new way? You know, what are the tools that you need to help you do that? Like, do you need to seek some type of support? Yeah, whether it's continued support, maybe it's reading books, seminars, webinars, professional help, whatever it is that you need to be supported, and not having any judgment around that. Yeah. Yeah, so Cancer season, crying is beginning. The crying starts, and it's good. The crying is just like a washing clean of our emotional bodies. So letting the emotions come up and not judging them, not trying to push them away, not trying to numb them out, but just acknowledging them and letting them be there, and not like taking them on, like grabbing them and like, oh, this, continuing to spiral downwards of like making a whole story around the emotions, just letting it occupy the body, letting it come up in the body, noticing it, witnessing yourself moving through this experience. So yeah, Cancer season, here we go. The beginning of looking at how we work with our emotional body, how we digest life, how we digest emotions, and then how that affects us, like in regards to showing up in the world, because that is the opposite energy, the Capricorn energy, which is about going out into the world and doing things and accomplishing things and being of service. But it can't do that if it doesn't feel supported internally, if it's not like receiving support and nourishment, from the self and from others, developing like that safe space to receive nourishment. Okay. That is all that I have for now. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that this supports you in better understanding the energy that we're moving through, that we're all moving through right now in different ways. If you would like to book a reading with me, if you'd like to dive deeper into your chart, you can do so through my site at cosmicguidance.online. I will leave that link below. And yeah, that is all for now. Lots of love to you people. Happy new moon in Cancer, summer solstice, eclipse, all the things. Okay.